Falcons fans, in what I have seen as quite possibly the worst trade offer in existence, the Atlanta Falcons have been linked to one quarterback that I do not want, and I repeat, do not want on this team in the 26th season. Welcome in, Falcons fans, to Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. What quarterback could you possibly be talking about, Moose? Tua. Please don't trade for Tua. Please don't. Ian Cunningham, hear my plea. Matt Ryan, you're a former quarterback yourself. Do not trade for Tua. Because in this episode, I'm going to tell you not only why the Falcons currently are linked to this quarterback, but also why the Dolphins are tanking and trying to get rid of Tua. And Ian Cunningham, if I had to say it just one more time to you, my friend, please do not trade Tua. Don't do it. They're actively shopping him. He can go anywhere else, not Atlanta. Now, before I break down all of this, I have to give you an updated sub battle, because February was our sub battle against Aints Now, and we are only winning by 11. That's not nearly enough. So if you are a loyal Atlanta Falcons fan, if you want nonstop offseason coverage, and more so than ever, if you just want to beat the shit out of the Saints, do me a favor and smash that sub button. All right, Jordan Schultz was the first one who reported this. Breaking the news that Tyreek Hill was getting cut. Breaking the news that Bradley Chubb was getting cut. And then in the same breath said that the Dolphins' preference has been to find a trade partner for Tua. Now, a cut is still possible in the end, but it doesn't seem nearly as likely or their preference. From his understanding, the new regime doesn't want this to drag out too long, so they are going to do whatever they can to find a trade partner for Tua. And one thing that I found incredibly interesting, if you go to any of these futures sites like Kalshi, they'll all tell you the exact same thing. This is not the only one, by the way, that comes up with Atlanta as the second most likely to land Tua, with the first most likely being that he either retires or stays with Miami at 30%. But the next highest odds for his next team is the Falcons at 29%. So let's forget Michael Penix Jr. for a second, right? Let's take him off the boards. We'll just put him as an afterthought for right now. This is still idiotic. This is an awful decision if it happens. And I'll tell you why, in 3 specific reasons. The first reason, and probably the most important one when it comes to the finances, is the cap situation. Tua's cap hit is insane. And Clutch Points, who I feel like is one of those hit and miss kind of sites, every once in a while they have a golden nugget. This is one of them. Clutch Points said this about Tua's contract. The temptation to eat all of the dead money in 2026 is gaining financial freedom in the future for the Dolphins. If they, Miami, wants to take that path, they will be entirely free of Tua's contract in future seasons. That means $53.4 million in additional cap space in 2027 and $65.8 in 2028, meaning they'll eat all of it this year. Ultimately, there is no clear path for the Dolphins to compete during their first season under Jeff Hafley, meaning tank. That could make it tempting to get rid of Tua's contract once and for all. So I did my homework. I went out and I looked at all the 2026 quarterback cap hits. And Deshaun Watson leads the charge, funny enough, at 80.7. Talk about your all-time bad contracts. But Tua is not far behind at 6th highest at 56.3. What's something you notice about all these other quarterbacks besides Kyler? All of them are either superstars or franchise guys outside of Deshaun Watson. So Tua finds himself in a very awkward and kind of difficult spot in his NFL career. But it goes beyond that. Tua's numbers sucked. He was not a good quarterback last year. One thing that Tua's always rested on, his laurels have always been, he's an accurate passer. Okay, fine. He's a 68% completion percentage guy. But he threw 15 picks. That's terrible. His passer rating, Or that's actually his QBR, excuse me. 37. Like, what are we talking about? Trading for Tua would ruin the offseason. I don't care who they land in free agency. This would be the worst possible move Ian Cunningham could make in his very first season in Atlanta. Now, do I think it's going to happen? No, probably not. But why on earth do all of these future sites have the Falcons so high in their odds? Do they know something that we don't? I mean, I'm not trying to make a mountain out of a mole here, guys, but it's not there's not one site claiming this. There's multiple sites claiming that the Falcons are at the very top of that leaderboard. Reason number 2 why trading for Tua would be a huge mistake. The on-the-field issues. This has nothing to do with his attitude. This has nothing to do with who he is as a man or as a father or as a teammate. This has everything to do with Tua, the football player. The first thing is the injuries. Do you actually want to bring in another lefty quarterback that has injury concerns? Penix has manufactured knees. Tua probably doesn't remember his own name half the time. The concussions are out of hand. Okay, well, Moose, that's a little bit harsh. You can't blame a guy for the injuries. Okay, fine. Let's talk about the actual performance on the field. Where does he rank in a composite score as the quarterback for the Dolphins? Well, that's not good either. 32nd out of 36 possible quarterbacks, according to this chart. Now, I realize it's tough to see, but I did the singling out for you. Tua ranks 32 out of 36. Well, guys, by the way, there's only 32 teams. So if we were only going by team, he'd be dead last out of all of these. And that's not, again, a shot at Tua. I think subconsciously, the guy plays ultra conservatively now. I don't even think he's aware of it. I just think he knows, his body instinctively knows that he can no longer take the same risks that he used to. I mean, one more hit, one more major concussion, his career is over. I mean, how many times have we seen the fencing thing from Tua? It is an ugly, ugly sight. So I think he's closer to retiring than he is being traded for. But again, I could be wrong here. I'm just speculating. I'm a guy on YouTube. What do I know? What I do know is that if you're not sporting the very best Atlanta Falcons Today merch, you're doing something wrong. It's the very first merch we've put out on the channel just in time for St. Patty's Day, boyo. So if you want to sport the very best Atlanta Falcons Today merch, Atlanta drinking team in glorious green or awesome black, which I'll be having because it doesn't drown out my skin tone, I'll be sporting all of this stuff, and I'll be going to chatsports.com/Atlanta Green to be doing so. And if you wanted to make it easier on yourself, I'm going to put it in the comments and description of today's video. Last and final reason why Tua is not the right option. The asking price. Now, this one's probably not as big only because I've seen a couple of ideas kicked around here for Tua when it comes to what the Dolphins would want to get for him. The biggest problem is that most teams don't want to trade for Tua because of the amount of money that you would have to pay for him. So they want the Dolphins to eat some of that salary. And the only one that I've seen that actually makes some sense is one that I found on Twitter, believe it or not, from a fan. And this was the hypothetical trade. A 2026 sixth-round pick for 50% contract relief, and the Falcons would get Tua and a family-sized bag of Doritos. Well, that sounds a little bit silly, Moose, but there's actually some truth to this. Chips at least give you some sort of short-term satisfaction. Tua gives you none. So as much as having Tua on the team to back up Michael Penix Jr. sounds great in theory, I think you'd be spending way too much draft capital that Ian Cunningham told you was like currency to him in order to get an injury-prone player that has a weak arm and isn't that mobile. By the way, I think we're also kind of big picture here. We're forgetting what trades are designed for. They're designed for value. getting something of value, not for fresh starts, not for new beginnings, not for reshaping the framework of your NFL career. That's a kind of a harsh point, but we're running a business here. This is a business. The NFL is a business. So if you were going to trade for a quarterback, I wouldn't be trading for Tua. I'd be trading for any one of these guys. Mac Jones, Tyson Bagent, Jacoby Brissett. Now, Jones is a little bit too high of an asking price. Tyson Bagent is right on the money in terms of asking price and age. And Jacoby Brissett, okay, maybe not age, but you could get a very reliable backup option for Michael Penix Jr. for very little in draft compensation. You could even give up probably a 2027 draft pick. So, no, I am not trading for Tua. I don't know if that was abundantly clear to you all, but I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. I will never consider doing it. If the new GM of the Dolphins, I forget his name, called me up and was like, Moose, you're the new GM of the Falcons. Do you want Tua? I'd say, send that man 2 to 3 years, Dagestan, and forget. That's my ultimate take with Tua. I'm sorry. It's just where he lands with me. It was a great career for him. He made a lot of money. Ultimately, brother, it's time to hang it up. So I'm typing my P for pass. By the way, we have one final push here. We've got, 10 more days of February? And for my birthday, which today is, by the way, at the time of this recording, make sure you give me my one birthday wish, and that is to beat the Saints in the month of February. That's all I got for you on today's episode, Falcons fans. A reminder to hit that thumbs up icon as well. Rise up and be cool.